All right, here's your business news now. South Africa has been able to raise just over R1 trillion over the last four years during the annual investment conference. The Minister of Trade and Industry Competition addressed the business community ahead of the meeting conference earlier today. There have been a number of projects that have been established from the investments in key industries like the automotive space and the renewable energy sector. The fifth SAIC, which is scheduled for the 13th of April, and new targets are set to be announced as this drive comes to an end. Joining me now for more on this is Deputy Director General at the Department of Trade and Industry and Competition, Yunus Hoosen. Thank you very much for your time, DDG. What was communicated at the breakfast this morning? What projects exactly have been established from the investments made at the conference?
Good afternoon. Over the past 4 years, there have been 231 pledges in these conferences amongst various sectors in the productive manufacturing sectors, in the services sectors, in infrastructure, as well as DFIs and funders pledging over the 5-year period, which we have now completed 4 years and achieved a target of just over 1.1 trillion. And the target being 1.2 trillion. And next week's conference on Thursday, the 13th of April, concludes this investment mobilization drive, which the President announced in 2018, of 1.2 trillion over 5 years. So what we've seen is that we track these projects as investors say on a quarterly basis and daily on issues that as well as progress that companies have. And we've seen many variety of projects, either they've been mines or manufacturing facilities, factories, data centers, call centers being established. So amongst the 231 projects, you got 83 projects completed and 77 projects in construction, which is basically of the 231, that is about 69% of projects that have been completed or are in construction. And then we have at least about 28 projects which are in early stages of completion. And there are some projects that are on hold due to the economic conditions. And then we have some projects that have been purely funding from the New Development Bank and private banks, as well as our DFIs like the IDC and so forth.
So the drive, I understand, comes to an end this year. So how confident are you that the President will reach his target?
Well, we managed the drive. We're very confident. We urge you to come and have a look and see. It will be a fantastic achievement. Despite the conditions, what we can see is greater resilience, greater confidence. Many companies that have pledged before, either expanding their projects, adding new projects, but we're seeing a broad, wide variety of companies, as well as companies from internationally. You now know we are post-COVID, so many companies, countries and companies coming from abroad, making new investment pledges to complete this drive. And you will see that the President, as well as in the SONA, announced a new target for the next 5 years, ending 2028, of 2 trillion rands over the next 5 years to encourage and facilitate investment as part of this next new investment mobilization drive. So I would say that we will achieve the target that has been set out. The target is a mere 60 billion to achieve, but we will achieve that target.
But will there be any new targets that are set by the President at this conference, and what sectors will be focused on to drive economic growth? Probably not energy.
Yes, of course, there is a new target. The new target is 2 trillion rand. over the next 5 years. The energy sector is a key sector, and you'll see in this conference that we are the fifth one, that be a number of companies also pledging investment in energy sectors, particularly in South Embedded Generation, that will come online. Some will come online this year and within the next 2-3 years. So there'll be a big focus on a number of companies in the energy space, in renewable energy and so forth, as well as in other areas of infrastructure, in data center infrastructure, as well as modernization of telcos. But across the board in manufacturing, there'll be a number of projects that will be announced in there. And also there'll be a number of projects announced in our special economic zones.
Lastly, DDG, what message has been communicated to the business community to continue to invest when it comes to the electricity crisis, for instance, and as I alluded to a little earlier on, our plan of action there, now the state of disaster being lifted, etc. So what kind of message are we giving to investors?
Now, what we see is that we see that since the cap has been lifted for self-embedded generation, we're seeing private sector coming to the party. Private sector making significant investments or development in terms of applications. We will also be coordinating the Energy One-Stop Shop to streamline this regulatory process and fast-track these applications for private sector. So we're seeing that the significant uptake from private sector in self-embedded generation, particularly the energy-intensive users in the mining sector, making significant announcements in this conference, as well as planning to do that.
All right, DDG, thank you very much for your time. That was the Deputy Director General at the Department of Trade and Industry and Competition, Yunus Hoosen.